iwasan. Klinika On Air. Narito si Dr. Edwin Bien.
Alright. Magandang gabi mga kaibigan. For those of you who are driving right now, pauwi sa inyong mga bahay. It's raining a little bit, no? But be safe and listen to this wonderful program. Alam ko na mi-miss po ninyo the program that deals with natural medicine and of course your questions about health. Ayan, na-miss niyo po ba ako last week? Na-miss ko kayo. I was listening to the program and it's congratulations doon po sa aking kasama, co-host natin, si Miss Andrea, together with Doc Charlie. I was listening for the whole hour, mga kaibigan, through Viber, all the way sa San Francisco. So, muli, narito po, bumabalik po si Dr. Good On Air at magdudulot na naman sa inyo ng mga kakaiba na mga pananaw pagdating sa medisina. So, pabatiin po natin ang kasama natin. Hello, Miss Andrea.
Hello, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Congratulations last week,
Thank you.
You did good. Maganda yung topic ninyo last week. What was that about?
It's about acne po.
Acne and you had a celebrity pa na kasama, no?
Yes, we enjoyed and we learned so much from Dr. Charlie.
And of course, yung celebrity na kasama nyo was a model, no? Was a model
Yes po.
for a popular brand here, right?
Yes.
You talk about acne. All right. So, mga kaibigan, I know you texted us about questions about your health, and we will devote a few minutes of our time para to answer some of those texts. Kasi I'm sure you wanted na every program natin, we answer before and after the program some of your texts. So, right now, welcome po dito sa ating Klinika Radio and On Air will be answering your texts right now. So, Miss Andrea, let's do it.
Okay, from 0939-426-0030. Good PM po, Dr. Good. Tanong ko lang po, bakit po lumobo yung kaliwang puson ng papa ko? May posibilidad po ba na magkaroon siya ng los-los at delikado rin po ba ito? Ano po ang pwedeng gamot dito?
Wow, yung dinescribe niya, mukhang los-los or hernia talaga yon. Yung paglobong yon, hindi yun air, Miss Andrea, ha?
Mm-hmm.
That is part of the intestines. Nangyayari po talaga yan doon sa mga lalaki who ages about 50s or 60s, that sometimes because yung muscle po natin that controls the covering of the abdomen, nagiging malambot yun eh. So what happens is the intestines come out and that is what we call hernia. Kailangan po dyan less meat and more vegetables, and if it's really big na talaga, then you might need to look for a surgeon at baka kailangan operahan yan. Hilahin pabalik dahil ang delikado po dyan, pwede yang maipit and it might be an emergency. So baka hernia po yan, ha? Okay, next question natin.
From 0946-906-5389. Excuse po, Doc, pagka po yung asawa ko po gumamit po ng bawal na gamot, maaapektuhan po ba ng pinagbubuntis ko?
Ano yan? Bawal na gamot?
Opo.
Ano suspecha mong bawal na gamot yan? Shabu?
Baka po.
Baka shabu or marijuana. If you're pregnant and then your husband is using shabu, that's methamphetamine, masama po yun. Kasi you may inhale it indirectly and it may affect your baby. Dapat sa asawa mo, bigyan mo ng taning. You should warn your husband. Either you put him in prison o iwanan mo siya, hanap ka ng mas mabuting husband. No, that is bad for you. But kahit na hindi maapektuhan ng baby mo, of course, when you have a family already and your husband is using illegal drugs, that's not a good family. So, i-report mo yun sa police. Pabugbog natin. Okay, next question natin.
Next question from 0910-784-0502.
Mm-hmm.
Dok, tabingi ko, Dok, be, pasodla ko yung...
Oy, dahan-dahan. Ulitin mo. Parang Bisaya yan, ha? Sige. Dok?
Dok, tabange ko, Dok, be, pasodla ko og trabaho.
Ha?
Paeta, Dok, uy, wala ko'y trabaho, lay. Kayo.
Para naghahanap ng trabaho.
Naghahanap po ng trabaho ata ito.
I think, Doc, Tabangi help me find a job, I think. If you like earning income, not only from being employed, but you like to do a little bit of business, mamaya we'll give you a number which you might text, and we might give you an opportunity para po you earn money while you're not being employed. I think that may solve some of the problem ng texter na yan. Okay, you can make more money, ha? You can make money without being employed. Mamaya later we'll ask some of our guests, they can make good money. Okay, sige, next question.
From 0947-7663-022. Doc, gandang gabi po. Itanong ko lang po, pag kulang ka ba sa potassium, napaparelease po ba ang katawan, kamay at mga paa? Kala daw po sa utak na cyst na po ang mahal. Ang mahal pa naman, buti minga tao pang maaawain na tulungan sila. Okay naman daw ang resulta. Ano po kaya dapat gamot, Doc? Doc, sana po, Doc, matulungan niyo po kami.
Okay, yung first question niya was potassium, tama?
Yes.
At yung potassium nagkukos ng paralysis.
Yes.
That's true. So mga kaibigan, dun po sa hindi nakakaunawa, when it comes to minerals, our body needs minerals. Isa sa mineral na yun would be sodium, the other mineral would be chloride, and one of the most important mineral is called potassium. Yung potassium is the mineral that is important for the functioning ng ating nerves, ng ating muscle, and our heart. So if your potassium is going down, nangyayari yan, Miss Andrea, sa mga may depresya sa kidneys. O kaya hindi yung palakain ng mga bananas. They should eat bananas. Parang minions ba? If you have low potassium, maaaring huminto ang tibok ng puso mo. So yung mga nagmamaneho dyan, pwede po kayong bigla na lang mahilo at maparalisa yung inyong paa na hindi po ninyo kayang itapak at mabangga kayo. So potassium is very important, pero mahalaga when you take potassium, it should come from natural sources tulad ng bananas. Ang isa pa, bigyan mo ako ng example na sa tingin mo may potassium.
Saba.
Banana rin yun eh. Iniba mo lang. Raisins. Pasas. Some drink na paborito ng mga guys. Give me a guess. I don't drink a paborito ng some guys which may contain potassium.
Whey.
Hindi Whey is protein. Red wine. Red wine kasi comes from the skin of the grapes. And grapes contain potassium. So, yung mga yan, mga kaibigan, you can eat bananas, you can eat raisins. If you can, you may try a little bit of red wine, and they may help you increase your potassium level in your blood. I think we have time for maybe we don't anymore. We'll take a few break. We'll have our time, Miss Andrea. Would you like to call it?
Ang oras ngayon ay 6:50 ng gabi.
At mga kaibigan, sa pagbabalik po natin, ang panauhin natin all the way from New Zealand. Huwag po kayong aalis dyan.
Mabuting paalala mula sa SSS. Layunin ng SSS na mga benepisyo ay agad na ibibigay sa panahon ng pangangailangan. Bilang miyembro, siguruhing kontribusyon ay laging sapat at on time. Mga loan ay mga pribilehiyong napakinabangan. Maayos na pagbayad nito ay pagsigurong sa muling pangangailangan, ito ay agarang maaasahan. Mabuting paalala po muli, siguruhing nasa ayos ang ating SSS membership upang benepisyo at pribilehyo ay hindi naaabala.
What can you say in 1 minute?
BBC Minute at 7 GMT.
BBC Minute with me, Vic and Dad. It's 9:30 in
Minute.
Mumbai.
This is still a
The BBC Minute is the world's news stories in 60 seconds.
BBC Minute.
The world in 60 seconds.
BBC Minute.
This is the BBC Minute.
Tune in to the BBC Minute. Weekdays on DZRJ 810 AM, the voice of the Philippines.
Enjoy a different kind of cool with iCool. Cool na cool habang inuunguya. Cool na cool habang ikaw ay nagsasalita. iCool Menthol Gum. Minty, gummy, long-lasting nguya. Long-lasting cool. iCool Mentholated Gum and iCool Cherry Mint Gum.
Ladies and gentlemen, ito na siguro ang pinakamabilis na radio commercial mula sa IBU Fluid Medical 400. May Rapid 400 formula, kaya kumpara sa isang mefenamic acid, mas rapid kumalat, mas rapid tumalab, mas maagang magpaginhawa ng matinding sakit. Lipat na sa Medical 400, the fastest medical for the worst pain. Ibuprofen is the generic name of Medical 400. If symptoms persist, consult your doctor.
DZRJ 810 at 8 Trimedia Broadcasting Networks. Pinagsanib na puwersa para sa sambayanang Pilipino. Mga wastong gabay para sakit ay maiwasan. Klinika On Air. Narito si Dr. Edwin Bien.
Nagbabalik tayo mga kaibigan. And of course, you're listening to DZRJ 810 kHz. Bisitahin po ang aming website at 8trimedia.com. Yung 8 number po yon. That's number 8 and then one word, trimedia.com. That's 8trimedia.com. And also puntahan po ang broadcast live link natin at http://8trimedia.com/broadcast-live para masubaybayan po ang live streaming ng ating mga programa. Makikita din ang mga link para sa ating social media accounts tulad ng Facebook, Twitter, at Instagram. Pati na din ang ating mga contact sa text line if you are interested at 0977-342-1644. At kung interesado po kayo sa ating hotline number para makipag-usap, you may dial 412-0288. Ikaw ba ay nakikinig sa DZRJ 810 araw-araw? Pues, eto na ang isang pasasalamat namin sa inyo. Mag-text ng inyong greetings o mensahe sa 0917-798-8910. Huwag kakalimutang ilagay ang inyong buong pangalan, address at magkaroon ng chance manalo ng isang brand new Nextbook Android tablet. Wow! Makinig at manalo mula sa himpilan ng bawat Pilipino. Handog sa inyo ng 8Trimedia Broadcasting Network. So mga kaibigan, if you're not driving right now, text na po. Kung driving ka, pumara ka muna before you text us. Okay, we have in our studio very beautiful people. Very good-looking couple. Pagpasok sa door, makikita nyo, they're unique. Not only are they fashionable, but you will see that they are unique. Not only are they unique, they're very intelligent. I have been speaking with them for quite some time already. I am impressed, and that is why we have invited them to come over para po magbigay sa inyo ng mga new knowledge, mga kaibigan. And of course, we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic. May idea ka, Miss Andrea? Ano yung topic natin?
Para po ba ito sa...
Sa
sa mga teenagers?
Teenagers? Hindi. Para ito sa mga botsyog.
Para...
Yung mga botsyog yung mga medyo malalaki na po dyan nakikinig sa atin. And you would like to be a little bit slimmer or be more fit. That's our topic for today. Ayan. So, Miss Andrea, please, you have the floor. Paki-introduce our first guest.
Yes, from New Zealand, here is Miss Pam Browning.
Yes, may palakpakan. Ako na lang papalakpak. All right. And on your further left,
Mr. Chris Perry.
Yeah, mamaya hanapin ko yung ating palakpakan. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's ask Miss Pam already. Hello, good evening, Miss Pam.
Good evening.
Nice voice. And Sir Perry, Mr. Perry.
Yes, good evening, Dr. Good.
Thank you very much, Sir Chris. Okay, let's shoot some of the first questions already.
Sure.
Miss Pam,
Miss
Okay,
Pam,
go ahead.
I have a question for you. How bad is the condition of obesity nowadays?
Well, unfortunately, Andrea, it is not looking good. One of the most serious public health problems of the 21st century is obesity. In fact, back in 2013, the American Medical Association classified obesity as a disease. So we're in trouble, not just here in the Philippines, but worldwide.
Obesity, no?
Yes.
And how does one classify a person if one is obese already or not? I'm curious. Anyone would like to answer that one?
Well, I think perhaps if we just, what is obesity,
Okay,
Dr.
what
Good?
is obesity?
So we could simply put it that it's a condition of being grossly fat and overweight, an excessive amount of body fat. So what we probably need to do is have a look at somebody's body fat and measure that, and then try and help them reduce that and get back to what we would call perhaps an ideal weight for them.
Okay. Miss Pam and Miss Andrea, there are some people who are heavy set. Not necessarily they're fat, but they are heavy set, maybe because of they have big bones. Is that correct?
Well, it can be. I think we could sort of classify body sizes into sort of small, medium, large. And I always remember way back, and I was reading recently, it's still a pretty good way to measure it. If you can put your fingers round your wrist and actually overlap them, then you've probably got a small frame. If they just meet, medium frame, but if you're having trouble with actually getting those fingers together, then you've probably got a large frame, and I think that sort of stands pretty well.
Okay, Miss Pam and Miss Andrea, mga kaibigan, pasensya na po kayo if we have to speak in English dahil yung guest natin understands English right now only, not any Filipino word yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. However, the reason I asked that Miss Pam, because on my right is a good-looking gentleman, but I know that his bloodline, if you take a look at some pictures of his bloodline, they're huge people. They're big, like the Samoans. And Mr. Chris Perry, what's your bloodline?
Well, obviously my father was a Scotsman. From Scotland,
okay.
yes.
So
and my
tall
mother,
guys, big
yes.
guys.
And rugged sort of people,
Rugged,
yes.
rugged.
Yeah. Clansmen from Scotland.
Scotland.
And my mother was our indigenous race in New Zealand, which is called Maori.
The Maoris.
Yes.
And if you take a look at the picture of the Maoris, you
Yes.
are huge warriors.
Yes,
You're
that's
wide.
right. Yes, that's right. Yes, it's a bit of our genetics from the South Pacific sort of DNA, I guess, yes.
So, Mr. Perry, just a moment, I'll put that in Tagalog. Mga kaibigan, ang Maori po, i-google nyo na po kagad yung Maori. Makikita nyo, sila yung mga may tattoo. Yung tattoo is in the face or tattoo in parts of the body. And then, they look like Indians, pero not like the American Indians kasi American Indians are slimmer. The Maoris are wider and they look more fierce. Parang talagang they're warriors. Isn't that true, Mr. Perry?
Yes, they're very muscular.
Very
type
muscular.
people. Yes, yes.
You come from New Zealand, di ba?
I do
Right?
indeed, yes. What was that, 62 years ago now?
62. You don't look like that age, Mr. Green. Okay, tell me about your country before we go back to
Sure,
Miss Pam.
sure. Well, New Zealand's a sort of a very clean, green country, and I guess that's because we want to protect our dairy industry, which is one of our biggest export commodities from New Zealand. So it's a very clean environment. It's a very healthy environment. It's a great place to raise families, and it's a wonderful place to grow up in, I guess. Yeah. So there's about only 4 million people in New Zealand. So with 2 islands, it's quite you can travel for half an hour and not see anybody. Not like the Philippines here, where you get you go out of your office and it's a traffic jam there. But it's a very good place. In fact, we're very excited at the moment because over the last month or so, there's been the Rugby World Cup championships in England. Yes,
and you won it.
And New Zealand won it in 2011, and we just won it on Saturday night against the Australians.
Wow.
And New Zealanders like beating Australians, and Australians like beating New Zealanders. But so we're all very excited in New Zealand that the World Cup is going back there this week. But the other thing is that 40,000 Filipinos live in New Zealand.
Really?
40,000 live in New Zealand, yes.
You know, Mr. Perry, for some people who do not know where New Zealand is or who have no idea what New Zealand looks like, mga kaibigan, just think of the movie The Lord of the Rings.
Yes,
correct?
that's correct. Yes,
that is where it was shot, right?
That's right, in a little place about 4 hours drive south of Auckland, which is our major city, which most people would know if they see the weather map on the television. They talk about Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch when the temperatures come up. So, yes, it's a beautiful place, and it's a very green, sort of idyllic, quiet sort of environment. good for hobbits to grow up in.
Oh. So you have hobbits.
Well, in the movies we have
in the
hobbits.
movie,
Yes, yes.
but no Frodo, no Frodo.
No,
no
I haven't seen any yet. But
Okay.
I'm looking for some.
Okay, let's go back to our topic.
Sure.
I'm sure Miss Andrea has raised some very much interesting, questions already.
Yes, Miss Pam, going back to our obesity condition, what's the condition in New Zealand right now?
Oh, well, even though Chris spoke to us about New Zealand, beautiful country, clean, green, we have everything there, we also have an obesity problem.
Oh.
It's worldwide. New Zealand is not looking good. We've got too much of the good stuff there, and people, unfortunately, are not really taking care of their health.
Mm-hmm.
So it's much the same worldwide, but we're way up there, and we've got a lot of work to do in our own country.
Is your serving? There are restaurants, like here in the Philippines, if you order food, you get a very small amount of food.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it in New Zealand that you get a big serving when you
yes.
order food?
No, you get plenty. You get a lot of food on your plate.
Really? When you
Uh,
order steak, it's huge.
It is. New Zealanders are big meat eaters, and they like their potatoes and vegetables, but mainly those big steaks.
Really
we
big.
do a lot of barbecuing. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, that's true. That's
Barbecue,
true.
yes.
That's true. Well, in the
Yes.
Philippines, if you order barbecue, you'll probably get some maybe 3 or 4 very small pieces on a stick.
No, in New Zealand, the steak just about takes the whole plate.
Oh, really?
Nice.
But there, Doc, there is a move away from that. Education is the key, isn't it?
Okay.
So over the last 10 or 15 years, certainly there's been a shift from the big eating sort of fill your plate up sort of mentality to now sort of going to smaller portions, high quality. But we're still to get out of that sort of that mindset and work towards resolving the issues that that you're talking about tonight, which is obesity.
Okay, all right. Okay, our next question.
Miss Pam, what causes obesity?
Okay, well, of course, as we said before, excessive food.
So that's number one.
That's number one. Lack of exercise.
Eating too much food, huh?
Lack of exercise. People
Yes.
are not getting out and moving around as much as they used to. Sometimes it's due to genetics. That's one of the things that we can control to a certain degree, but not always. Medical reasons, often psychiatric illness, some of those sort of things. Fast foods.
Mm-hmm.
I see here in the Philippines, in the short time that we've been here, that there's a lot of fast food outlets. We've got every one that you could imagine in New Zealand, all lined up in every city and small towns. So that's a big problem. People driving, not walking.
Oh, okay.
So lack of exercise, insufficient sleep. Now that's an interesting one, because lack of sleep can certainly lead to weight gain.
Miss Pam, let's pause for a few reminders about that. And when we come back, we'd like to ask you more about those things that you have outlined. We'll just go for our time check at magbabalik po tayo.
Ang oras ngayon ay 6:30 ng gabi.
This time check is brought to you by IB Fluid Medical 400, the fastest medical for the worst pain.
DZRJ 810 at 8 Trimedia Broadcasting Networks. Ang himpilan ng bawat Pilipino. Mga wastong gabay para sakit ay maiwasan. Klinika On Air. Narito si Dr. Edwin Bien kasama si Andrea Bien.
Nagbabalik tayo mga kaibigan. At pakilagay natin yung gustong magpabati. Kanina narito eh. At gusto po niyang magpabati sa atin. Hahanapin lamang po. Ayan, alright. Para naman matuwa ang 0907-331-6274. This is from a listener, Mr. Perry. Magandang gabi po, Klinika On Air Nov. Pakibati po mother ko na si Mama Vivian na nagluluto na at naghahanda na po ng aming hapunan. Buti ka pa. Ask ko lang po, Doc, kung ano ang dapat gawin o gamot para warts na tumubo sa leeg at batok ng younger brother ko na si Mark. Salamat po. God bless. Solid listener Marvin Kapili mula po sa Manugit, Tondo, Manila. Thank you very much, Marvin, for listening. There are several points of view pagdating sa wart, no? May ibang dermatologist, gusto nila cautery. Parang sinusunog nila, no? There are some dermatologists who uses the natural method. Alam mo ba na may nakaimbento sila yung dagta ng kasoy ay ginagamit nila para sa mga warts. So it's up to you. Merong ibang bago ngayon na naglalagay sila ng special adhesive pandikit. Pag dinikit mo sa wart at iniwan mo doon ng ilang araw, pag tinuklap mo, natatanggal na yung wart. So Marvin, makinig ka doon sa ating edition where Doc Charlie is here para mapayuhan ka ng mas mabuti. But thank you very much for listening. So we'll go back sa ating talakayan. Miss
Yes,
Andrea.
Miss Pam, can you please share with us how is ideal body weight computed?
Okay, well, we need to really look at body mass index. Now, it's something that's been used for a long time. It doesn't really give you a clear indication of health, but I think we'll just keep it quite simple and we can take a look at how that works. So it's calculated from height and weight, and depending on where your body mass index falls, we can sort of look at whether you're underweight, normal, overweight, or obese. So, for example, obesity will give you a figure of 30.0 and above. And if that's the case, then we try and help that person look at ways to reduce their body fat. And, of course, we talk about nutrition and exercise, etc. So it's doesn't always work for athletes and bodybuilders. There are sort of more complex ways of working out body fat for them. But I think generally it's a pretty good way to assess someone's ideal weight.
Okay. Ms. Pam, you mentioned 30 plus and above for body mass index for you to be considered obese.
That's right.
But what's very interesting is you mentioned a while ago before we pause for a break na lack of sleep can cause obesity. What else aside from genetics and diet?
Okay, so environmental pollutants.
Environment.
Yes, and of course we're from New Zealand. We don't have the same level of pollution you do here. So, I try and not be spending too much time outside.
Is that good or bad? I think.
Well, we would think it should be good, but as I said, New Zealanders are still way up there with obesity stats. So that's just one of the things. Increased use of medications can be another factor. But I think generally it's the nutrition and the exercise and the sleep and making sure you get plenty of water, hydrating the body. If you're not doing those sort of things, which are the easy things to do, and of course they're easy not to do, then you're probably not giving yourself the best chance to keep an ideal body weight. But fortunately, we've got ways of measuring it and ways of giving you some sort of help.
Okay. I have an intriguing question, and this is also with regards to Mr. Chris Perry. They have seen in the Philippines that the lower your status in society, the bigger the chance for getting obesity.
Yes.
It used to be that when you're obese, people will say, "Oh, you're getting rich, you're getting big." But now it's not.
Yes.
Those who are in the lower class are the ones that are getting obese.
Yes.
Your thought on this, Mr.
Yes, we've travelled a lot. We were in South Africa. We went to Malaysia. Now we're in the Philippines, and even in the Asian, more Chinese type of populations. Certainly, in days gone by, the Chinese like to look a little bit rotund because it was an indication of sort of wealth.
Before.
Yes, before. Now they're adjusting to that and now trying to get rid of that little bit of a tummy or stomach and losing that weight so that they can stay healthy for longer. So that's in Asia. Here in the Philippines, in regards to your question, Dr. Good, about the lower income section, I think what we've noticed since we've been here, a number of things is, one, when you haven't got a lot of money, I guess you have to sort of work towards eating a lot of rice. And drinking a lot of fizzy drinks like I don't know whether I can mention the colas. Yes, things like that. And obviously rice is a very starchy product. It makes you feel full, but you don't feel full for a long time. And what happens is we notice that the people that we associate with around the Philippines, they're hungry a lot. They seem to be hungry
all the time. They're always hungry.
Time, yes, all the time hungry. Yes. And for instance, we can have a good breakfast, and then we don't feel as though we need to eat anything till about 1:30 in the afternoon. Whereas other people are sort of get to about 11 o'clock, and they're wanting to eat.
They eat again.
Yes, they
Most
eat again.
offices offices,
Yeah.
they give you a break at around 10 o'clock or 10:30
Yeah.
to eat.
Yes, and of course they're eating the processed foods and drinking the colas and
Colas.
all full of sugar and
Uh-huh.
and they obviously lead to a lot of degenerative diseases, which unfortunately
True.
affect a lot of people. Yes.
True, that's true. So, what I'm going to say now is, mga kaibigan, fit is the new rich.
Yes, I like that.
Fit is the new rich.
Yes.
Kapag kayo bochog, that means fat. If you're big and fat here in the Philippines, doesn't look good. It means baka you're not rich.
Yes.
Okay. That's something intriguing, so that the listeners will try to get fit. Especially when we get to the latter part of the program, because we would be asking you, Miss Pam, for advice on how they can look fit and look rich in the
Yay.
process.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Next question is, how come fad diets don't work, Miss Pam?
Now that's an interesting one because most people these days have been on many, many calorie counting diets, and
Yes.
unfortunately, those are the ones that fail because, you know, up to 95% of all weight loss attempts do fail, and dieters put the weight back on, all back on, plus more within a 5-year period. So what we really need to be looking at is not about counting calories, but about looking at good nutrition.
I agree.
You know, forget the calories and get on to eating the good foods. Like you've got wonderful vegetables and fruits and lean meats, all sorts of fantastic foods here. So it's a matter of changing the mindset and looking at a healthy way of eating. So if someone said to me, well, how am I going to go about getting healthier, I'd say the best thing to do is to look at what we call real foods.
Okay.
You know, the healthy vegetables and the healthy everything.
Since Miss Pam Andrea is on the topic already, maybe we can ask you already. You know, how do you think we could get fit? Do you have some suggestions?
How to get fit?
Or how to lose weight, or how to avoid obesity?
Okay.
Is there such a thing as a replacement for our regular meals instead of taking so much rice, unlimited rice?
Yes, sure. You know, you can look at replacement meals because most people are in a hurry in the morning, or they rush out and grab something for lunch, and normally it's the unhealthy kind of foods that they take. Now, if there was a way to have something quick and easy that was more like a meal replacement, which was full of nutrition with adequate protein in it, does that sound good to you?
It does.
Yeah.
The question is,
So-
is it available already?
Of course it's available, and
Uh-huh.
it's as simple as just adding a healthy powder, replacement meal, we call it, to water, shaking it up, and it tastes good, and you're getting all the nutrition, all the vitamins and minerals, adequate protein, lots of good antioxidants, and often fat metabolizing ingredients as well. And you're not going to be hungry because you've given your body the nutrition it needs.
How does it work, Miss Pam?
How does the product work?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you take it, you mean?
That's true.
Yes.
Yes, it's just a matter of adding some protein powder or whatever
Okay.
the shake may be to about 150 mils of water. So you just need a little shaker, shake it, and you just take it instead of having your meal.
So it comes in a can, Miss Pam,
Yes, just comes in a can.
and it comes all the way from New Zealand.
All the way from New Zealand, that's right.
Clean, green New Zealand.
Clean and green New Zealand.
Yes.
And how many varieties or how many types are there in this kind of meal replacement therapy?
Well, we have a product which has got a couple of different flavors, and you know how most people like chocolate?
Oh, okay.
Me included. Well, we've got a chocolate fudge, we call it, and it's 100% natural. We've also got a berries and cream, and you know, that's a lovely tasting one, also very natural. So you feel as though you're getting more than just nutrition. You're getting the nice flavor and the taste that you enjoy as well.
I'm curious, Miss Andrea.
Yes.
If that is a meal replacement, you mean I will not, for example, I will skip lunch? Is that what you're saying?
You can.
And take this powder drink.
Correct.
Absolutely. So what you could expect from that is, of course, it's low carb. Now, that's what we're really trying to get people to do, is to cut the carbs, because it's all about low carb eating. And
Okay.
so the more carbohydrates, the more glucose, the more sugar in the blood. Now we want to keep that level down, and this is what our product is all about: low carb.
Low carb. Alam mo, Miss Andrea,
Yes.
I don't know why our country is very proud. Maybe because it gives employment, no? Pero mga kaibigan, why are we so proud na we are the call center capital of the world? That's what they're saying, di ba?
Yes, that's
Okay,
true.
so it's good. Okay, it gives jobs. So
Yes.
wala akong kontra ron. It's good for the people who need jobs. But you know, give me an example bakit hindi laging maganda ang call center na trabaho.
Gabi gising.
That's right.
Yes.
The bad part of being working in a call center is your metabolism is topsy-turvy. You're awake in the evening and you're sleeping in the morning.
That's true.
That's true. So the tendency of these people, I have noticed is, as a doctor, we have seen a lot of hypertension in these people. We have seen a lot of diabetes in these people. And the ladies are getting fatter and bigger and huge and obese. Because when they are working in the middle of the night, the tendency is for them to keep on sipping on something that is sugary and sweet.
Yes,
Cola,
that's
they are
true.
allowed to bring cola, di ba?
Yes.
And then the food that they eat, usually they call it mamon, di ba?
Merienda.
Oh, merienda nila is all mga bread like that. That's why they get big and they have no exercise. They're just sitting down.
Yes.
Every day of their life. In the morning, they're sleeping. In the evening, they're sitting down. And Ms. Pam mentioned a lot of stress can also cause obesity. So now that is the reason why I mentioned that call center, Ms. Pam, is because we have a lot of them in the Philippines. And they're getting sick. Now, is this meal replacement applicable for them?
Oh, for sure. For people, you're saying because they're sitting a lot, they're probably gaining weight that they want to somehow get rid of, but are finding it difficult to find a way to do that. By just replacing a meal with one shake a day, you can expect to lose a kilo a week.
Wow.
So,
So
they can skip dinner because normally that's when they start work, around 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. and they work until the following day about 3 or 4 a.m. So they can skip the dinner and take this meal replacement.
Meal replacement instead of dinner, yes.
And can they take it again like about 3 or 4 a.m. just before they leave for
They could do
for
it, won't do any harm. Although we suggest that people don't look at it as their diet, their complete diet. It's a meal replacement.
Well, they would be hungry. That's what I'm
Yes.
thinking. So instead of reaching for a bread,
Yes.
a sweet
Yes.
bread, then maybe they can drink that.
For sure, of course they can, yes. And then the other thing is too, I think moving away from the Coca-Cola.
Okay. Or
Or
other.
the cola.
Or other.
Or other,
soft
yes,
drink
that's right.
brands.
Sorry.
Okay. We'll pause for a few reminders, mga kaibigan, and we'll be back dahil I think this gets more interesting.
Ang oras ngayon ay
DZRJ 810 at 8 Trimedia Broadcasting Networks. The doctor is on air dito sa Klinika On Air. Usapang pangkalusugan, ihahatid ang tamang gabay sa pangangalaga ng ating katawan. Klinika On Air, pangungunahan ng mga eksperto sa kalusugan, mga pinagkakatiwalaan at magagaling na doktor ng ating bansa, respetado at kinikilala sa kanilang larangan sa medisina. Dr. Charlie Mendez, Dr. Ray Salinel Jr. at Dr. Edwin Bien. Klinika On Air, makinig Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi dito sa DZRJ 810. Hatid sa inyo ng 8 Trimedia Broadcasting Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, ito na siguro ang pinakamabilis na radio commercial mula sa IBU Fluid Medical 400. May Rapid 400 formula, kaya kumpara sa isang mefenamic acid, mas rapid kumalat, mas rapid tumalab, mas maagang magpaginhawa ng matinding sakit. Lipat na sa Medical 400, the fastest medical for the worst pain. Ibuprofen is the generic name of Medical 400. If symptoms persist, consult your doctor.
DZRJ 810 at 8 Trimedia Broadcasting Networks. Ang himpilan ng bawat Pilipino. Mga wastong gabay para sakit ay maiwasan. Klinika On Air. Narito si Dr. Edwin Bien kasama si Andrea Bien.
Okay, nagbabalik po tayo mga kaibigan. I'd like to say hello to Mr. Anthony. He's from Australia and I guess he's heartbroken right now because New Zealand beat Australia. In rugby at least, in rugby. Okay, let's go back to our question. Now our guest mga kaibigan is from New Zealand. They have a wonderful country. It's very clean. It's very green. Now, what they are saying is to help their obesity problem, they have devised a product that is in powder form that could serve as a meal replacement para po doon sa mga taong gustong maging sexy at palitan ang kanilang one meal a day. Whether it's lunch or dinner, is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
And can you talk more about it? Because my worry is when Filipinos do not eat rice, I don't know why, we do not consider it a meal. Even though it's 100 pieces of bread. If there's no rice, Filipinos don't consider it a meal. And we are afraid that we might faint.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I guess I can understand that because in New Zealand, I used to eat lots of big steaks and all those sort of things, but I've now sort of had to change my mindset because to stay healthy and stay fit and get rich.
Get rich.
Get rich, yes. Is that when you do get rich, you want to be healthy to enjoy that wealth or wealthiness. Yeah, so I've had to. It starts in the mind first, right? Everything starts in the mind first, and if we really do want to be healthy and look after our grandchildren and things like that, and look after our children, then it requires a mind shift as to whether we actually do want to be healthy for a start. And then we have products like this which can help you get in shape and enjoy a healthier lifestyle, which is what we promote all around the world.
So first, you will not feel weak.
No, you certainly won't feel weak. No,
you won't feel faint.
Certainly not.
You will not. You will not faint.
No.
Okay. And the nutrition in it is enough to sustain you, and you won't get sick. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what we're saying. Yes.
Ms. Pam, are there any history or cases that you've seen it actually work where you came from, or other countries that you visited?
Whether the product works or not.
Yes. Does it work? Has it worked for others?
Well, people love the taste, so that's a good thing. That's got to be good, and
they love the taste.
They love the taste.
What's your best selling? The chocolate or the berries?
I love the
chocolate. Yeah.
You love the chocolate. Okay.
But the berries very good as well. So I think when people understand that they're getting the 25 essential vitamins and minerals in this shake, if you're giving your body that good information, if you want to call it that, then you're not going to get hungry.
One shake is one, what do you call that?
Scoop.
You have a scooper?
Yes.
A scooper?
Yes.
Yeah. And you add it to...
You put 2 scoops of this for one shake.
One.
Yes.
How much water is that?
150 about ml? 250 mils of water.
250 mils of water. So that's about a glass, no?
Yeah.
And you have a shaker that you just shake
That's
it
right.
and dissolve it?
Yes.
And do you sip it slowly or do you gulp it down?
Well, probably so that I think sipping it slowly is
Sipping
the
it
answer.
slowly?
It's actually very filling, so you don't want to be drinking it too fast.
Okay.
And if you let it sit just for a couple of minutes, if you can bear to let it sit that long, it actually just gets slightly thicker. So it's almost like you think you're going to have this yummy milkshake.
Or smoothie.
A smoothie. While you're drinking it, you don't have to drink it together with rice or with bread. You don't.
No, not at all.
Just by itself.
By
That's
itself.
By
right.
itself. Oh, okay.
But you've got to be careful that you don't not have the good nutrition in your vegetables. Or there's nothing wrong with rice, believe me, but it's a matter of maybe reducing the amount of rice you have. A small amount never do you any harm. And I know what you're saying, Dr. Good. I've seen people have a big plate of rice.
You know why? Because restaurants here have unlimited rice. You pay for unlimited rice.
But the good thing is that you do not feel the need to have so many snacks and food after you've been taking these shakes. Your body starts to adjust to the good nutrition that you're giving it. I mean, if you're not having good nutrition, you're going to need lots and lots of snacks, lots of food to sort of make you feel as though you've got what your body needs to give you the energy you require just to carry on during the day.
Miss Andrea, there is a word that doctors know how to use but actually do not understand. It's called ketosis versus ketoacidosis. some people believe that if you starve yourself, you'll suffer a condition called ketosis or ketoacidosis. Mr. Perry, I think you could give us an idea. What are those?
Yes, well, ketosis is something that we've been involved in for many, many years. In fact, ketosis actually, I think, in regards to weight management, is emanated from Harvard University right back in the early 50s. And there was two professors Dr. Professor Cahill, Professor Blackburn, who actually came up with, researched for a weight management system for diabetics to use. And that was called the protein-sparing modified fast way of losing weight. And fairly simply, it works on the basis of reducing your, keeping in balance your carbohydrates and also the protein intake. And probably Pam's a better person to talk more specifically about how that works.
How does it work?
Okay, well, it's all about portion size. And you know, you were talking earlier about lots of big steaks on a plate. We've got to look at our food differently. We've got to actually look at having more of the simple carbohydrates,
the complex
carbohydrates, which is
would be
your vegetables and your salads, and you've got lots of lovely vegetables here, and a smaller amount of protein and also good fats. So that once your body has burned up the carbohydrates and you've used the glucose for energy, then your body does a quick switch and starts using its own body fat, burning its own body fat for energy. And once the body starts doing that, it produces what we call ketones, which you can actually measure daily to see whether you're actually losing weight. If your body is burning its own fat, then you are losing weight.
And it's a natural process, as you would understand, Doctor.
Okay, so the more ketones you burn, the more fat you lose. Is that what you're saying? Is that true?
As long as you're in ketosis and you find your level, your own, you actually have what you call your own critical carbohydrate level, which is probably anywhere between 20 to 35 grams of carbs a day. So you've got to actually start in the beginning measuring your food intake. Now, it might sound, that's going to be a little bit boring or time consuming, but very important, because you need to know how much food you should be consuming, how much protein, how many complex carbs. And once you see for yourself what that is, then it becomes a lot easier to manage.
I'm sure there's a lot of listeners, Andrea,
Yes.
who would like to consult about this. They would like to be guided.
Yes.
And they would like to ask you personally, firsthand, how long it will take them to find a beautiful body. Is there a place that they can consult with you?
Yes, most certainly. Andrea, perhaps you could tell them.
Yes, for anyone that is interested, you can go to Center Point Building, Garnet Road, corner Julio Vargas Avenue.
Slowly, please. Slowly.
Again, it's Center Point Building, Garnet Road, corner Julio Vargas Avenue.
That is in San Juan or Ortigas?
This is in Ortigas.
In Ortigas. So
yes.
What floor should they go to?
They can go to 18th floor.
18th floor.
Yes.
And they look for what office?
They can look for New Image office.
New Image office.
Yes.
At the 18th floor of Center Point Building. That's a green building, right?
Yes. It's
and that's
Garnet Road.
Corner of Garnet Road.
Corner Julia Vargas.
And Julia Vargas in Ortigas.
Yes.
All right. Now, of course, if they get lost, they would like to text first. What number should they text?
Yes, please contact Miss Pam at 0915.
Slowly. 0915
839
839
7238.
Repeat that, please.
0915 839 7238.
7238. Don't be scared, mga kaibigan. If it's an English-speaking person on the other line who will answer you. But of course, you can drop by at their office and look for the New Image. And what do you call this powder drink?
This is called Shape Up. Now,
Shape
what
Up.
a great name,
Shape Up, huh?
Yeah, Shape Up.
Is it good for both men and women?
Absolutely good for both men and women, yes.
Is it good to start at what age? Can they start it at a young age?
Probably not advisable for the younger people, but I would say anyone from teenager onwards who wants to Maybe lose a few kilos. It's a great way to do that.
We have a lot of obese teenagers right now.
Yes.
Is there a maximum age? Can an 80-year-old woman still take it?
Of course.
Especially the menopausal ones.
Yes.
Can they take it?
Yes.
Okay. And, of course, this is not the same for everyone. But when do they see some results?
Well, I always think the best way is that you notice your clothes start to feel a little bit looser, and even 1 kilo.
1 kilo.
You know those jeans that are a little bit tight round the middle. If you lose a kilo, when you're likely to lose a kilo a week, you start to feel your jeans a little bit looser, and that's very motivating. So you can imagine 2 or 3 weeks on this, and you've lost 2 or 3 kilos.
Wow. 3 kilos in 3 weeks. Or 3 kilos in a month.
Yes, well, we've actually got 2 programs, Doctor.
Really?
And one is the Shape Up program, which is the meal replacement. And we've got a ketosis program, which also, so on the Shape Up, you can lose a sort of a kilo a week, up to
1
a kilo
kilo
a week.
Wow.
And then on the ketosis program, which is a much more sort of stringent sort of program, you can lose 2 to 4 kilos a week.
Wow. 2 to 4 kilos a week.
Safely, naturally,
without getting weak, without getting sick.
Yes, exactly.
Wait,
So
In fact, having more energy.
Is this affordable? Is this more affordable than getting a liposuction? Liposuction, costs about 40 to 50,000.
Yes.
Is this more affordable than a liposuction?
Of course.
It is.
Yes.
Much more affordable and much
more
healthier for you.
Much healthier.
Yes.
Yeah, both our products, or both the regimes, work with the body's natural system. It's not working against it.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful, Miss Andrea.
Yes, very interesting.
Will you be working with Miss Pama on this project for the weight loss or the Shape Up program?
Yes.
So please invite them again.
I'm inviting every one of you to visit po if you're interested, Center Point Building, Garnet Road, corner Julia Vargas Avenue in Ortigas.
Okay, so we'd like to thank you, Mr. Chris Perry.
Oh, pleasure. Thank you, and God bless the Philippines. We love it here.
And we'd like to thank you, Miss Pam.
Thank you very much.
And of course, Andrea, salamat
Thank you po for listening.
Pasalamat mga kaibigan. Thank you again for listening to this program po natin, and hopefully magkarinigan muli po tayo next Monday for some more interesting topics. Again, this is Dr. Good on air. Good night.
DZRJ 810 at 8 Trimedia Broadcasting Networks.
This is VOA News, brought to you live from VOA through DZRJ in Manila.
From Washington, this is VOA News. I'm Steve Norman reporting. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said today the world should respect his Justice and Development Party's victory in a snap parliamentary election. On Sunday, he described it as the people of Turkey voting for stability. Sunday's returns Thursday Turkey to single-party rule just 5 months after the AKP lost its majority in parliament in a June polling. Middle East Institute scholar Zubair Iqbal tells VOA most observers were expecting a different result.
2 important things happened which led to this result. One of those was that some of the violence that took place actually scared many of the people who had gone on to the Nationalist Party to come back.